What's up, Leafs fans? Welcome back to another Leafs Nation After Dark. I'm Zack Phillips, and tonight we're breaking down a big victory for this Maple Leafs team, a comeback victory. The only time they led in this game was for actually 0 seconds because it was the overtime winning goal by William Nylander to win this one 4-3 and move to 28-16-2 on the season, taking down Sheldon Keefe's Devils, moving to 3-0 actually against Sheldon Keefe's Devils. What a victory from this Leafs team. Honestly, there is still stuff that we're going to look at and we'll talk about throughout the course of this game and what happened here tonight to lead to this and some cause for concern. And I think myself and a lot of people on this group are in the chat right now are kind of going to be in the same boat about how we think about some maybe goaltending stuff that's going on. We'll talk about that all throughout the show tonight. If people do want to call in and give their thoughts about what happened here, you're more than welcome to. You see pinned at the top of the chat there. If you're watching live, you click the live chat. You can see it in there. There's a link to call in. If you want to call into the show, you can click that link. You head on over there. I will get you in the show, and you give me your thoughts, ask questions, give your hot takes, comments, concerns, any of it, all of it. I'm willing to hear it here tonight on the show, so make sure to send those all in or call in. You don't have to come on camera, just audio, and I'm willing to hear what everybody has to say. Before we get any further, before we talk about what went on in this game, why we liked it, before we do smelling salts, before we do anything like that, you guys know it already, and if you don't, well, you should. It is a presentation of Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and the Leafs Nation After Dark. Open an account with Bet365 today. Bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N, all caps. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Also, I see my guy in the chat there, RWFan23. Shout out to RWFan. He says, auto liking the stream. Thank you. As everyone else should be liking the stream as well. I live bet the Leafs when they were down 3-2 late in the third. There you go. That's what we're talking about. Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation pregame and Leafs Nation After Dark. There you go. RW fan in there. Live betting the Leafs down. They come back. They win this one in overtime with a goal from William Nylander and a tie goal from Austin Matthews. All the world stage. Zach, after that comment Nylander made, he had to score that OT goal. Yeah, seriously. Well, that was part of the reason why we bet on him for our best bet in the game preview here today as well. Gave that one out when we're talking about, William Nylander made some comments and, he's got to step up. He's basically saying it's not that bad. We can get our way out of it. I was banking on William Nylander being a catalyst for that. Johnny T doesn't play here tonight. William Nylander, he's going to have the focus on him, and I thought he delivered here tonight. So, pretty unbelievable night from the big boys, I would say. There are still some concerns that happened, but I don't think it's the biggest of deals. It's good, though, because last game on Tuesday night, we were talking about it, and it was, we're okay with losing games if you're playing the right way. And right now, I don't think that this group had necessarily been playing the right way. This was an example of them playing much better here tonight. Like, they headed in the right direction. So I think that that's a good sign, stopping this streak of bad hockey, get themselves back on track here, and that's a positive sign for me. So good stuff from this Leafs team there. We will take callers, as I see we've got a caller waiting, but before we get to them, if you guys don't know it already, not only are we presentation of Bet365, but we have a new charity partner here on the show this season. We had $220 donated on the stream on Tuesday night. Now, a lot of that was probably because some of the misery being shared by Leafs fans and everyone getting it off their chest. It was basically a therapy session for everyone in the chat here after that one. But that said, we came here, did the stream, and it's going to a great cause because it is going this season to Sick Kids Charity. Proceeds from our Super Chat are going to Sick Kids Charity. You want to make sure your question or comment gets on the show, hit us with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, Canada's first children's hospital and a top research intensive children's hospital in Canada and third in the world. You want to make sure to send your Super Chat. Make sure to head on over to the live chat. Click that. and send however much you want. We're not asking for anything. If you guys want to send money, you're more than welcome to. Proceeds are going to Sick Kids. So with that, let's welcome our first caller of the show here. Who's on the line and how are you feeling tonight?
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's pretty good. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. It's been a while since I talked to you.
Who's on the line here?
Maxentius.
Oh, Maxentius, what's up?
Not much. How you been?
Not too bad. It has been a while. I didn't recognize you there. How's it going?
Pretty good. I mean, if you asked me like midway through the game, I'd tell you
Maybe
something
not so much.
completely different.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, I'm happy with the result.
Yeah.
Like that second period, like they got booed off the ice, and it felt like it was gonna be one of those nights again. Like it's gonna be one of those nights. It's like, okay, Keefe's in here, we're gonna lose our fourth in a row. It's gonna be a whole thing. You guys are gonna come online tomorrow morning and just be like, oh, the Leafs are melting down, and thankfully they didn't.
See, I think though the one thing that kind of held me in a more positive mindset here tonight was it was a tough open to the game. You're down early and then you kind of battled back. And it was one thing that Mike Johnson said on the broadcast here tonight, Max NTS. I'm sure that you would probably agree with this as well. As like it was an ugly start, and I think that's where Leafs fans would probably feel some of that shame. And that's where I was feeling the shame as well to open the game because we're just coming off this stretch of bad hockey. You're coming off of 3 losses in a row. You've not lost 4 games in regulation since 2019. And I'm staring down the barrel of one here tonight with that opening, thinking this Devils team is going to run all over you tonight. They're going to trounce you if you continue to play like this, like you did in the first 10. And to close out that first period, they were pretty defensively sound. Like they were trading some chances with the Devils there, but I thought that they were getting as many as they were giving up. And they were kind of keeping it a little bit tighter, not allowing too much. And then into the second period, you opened strong there as well, which I felt was like way more comforting to open up into that second period, because if they came in the second period the way that they came into the first period, Maxentius, I would have been, honestly, for lack of a better word, I would have been in shambles. Like I would have been watching that one going, oh shit, here we go again. This is going to get dark.
Yeah, see, like there's two things. One is the fact that the Leafs this season have had this issue of giving up the first goal. So it's not, I mean, you give up the first goal here and there or whatever. When it comes like a trend, then that's like, oh, here we go again, sort of thing. And like when we got into that second period, we got outscored 13-4 over the last couple games, and it's like, are we gonna get more than one goal again? And it's like, as a Leafs fan, you're trying to be positive, but there's this tension that's sitting there, like, can we get a second goal? Because it's
Yeah.
been so hard to come by lately, and you're trying not to just rail on the team or whatever, but the thought creeps into the back of your head, and like, what can you do?
Yeah. Well, and I think you agreed with that as well. If I'm not wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like the sentiment over the last couple of shows has been, people are getting mad at me in the chat and in comments after, and I understand some of the frustration to a degree, but people are like, well, they're first in the Atlantic, and they're up there in the top of the conference, and they're just behind Washington, whatever, whatever. And I kind of looking at it like, yeah, I get it, but they're playing old Leaf hockey. This felt like breaking that here tonight. And you know what? There's no guarantee that that's what they're going to do every single night or who they're going to be every single night, right? And they need to kind of prove that to us going forward, that consistency can be there. But this felt like more of a step back to Berube hockey mixed with finding your offense. Am I off base there on that?
No, I totally agree with you. And when I say that, it's because like we've had this January slump every single year, forever and ever. And like we've had these games that the Leafs have historically just lost, and they've been embarrassing losses. And
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like through the second period and stuff, as a Leaf fan, I'm sitting there trying to calm myself down and be like, don't be too negative. And they actually came through and pulled through. So I mean, credit where it's due. They did it. Maybe this team is different, you know what I mean? Like maybe they can do it, but like at the entire period, on the second period, you're sitting there watching them like struggling to get shots on net, and OEL takes like just another penalty. Like he's taken so many penalties in the last week. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that I was gonna say. I was gonna bring that up. Like, obviously, you text during the game, myself and Alberga, and he was like, say he brought it up after he took that penalty and goes, "Wow, like OEL has been in the box a lot lately." It's not just that, Maxentius. The one thing too I kind of noticed here is, okay, yeah, he goes to the box, but it's kind of a story of the bigger picture. How often here over the last couple of games, or weeks, I guess, maybe even to that point, if we want to go that far, can you remember Leafs goal anywhere between 20 seconds to 2 minutes later, an opposing team goal? And I think it happened twice here tonight where the Leafs tied it up and then the Devils immediately after found a way to take the lead here yet again. That's something that's got to be eliminated from this game, from this team's game. It's something that you cannot be allowing to happen because, I mean, I've gone on this rant a little bit before, but I always try to put myself into playoff hockey picture, and I know regular season is not playoffs hockey, but you need to get yourself in the right direction for it. You know what I mean? It's eliminating bad habits. It's eliminating some of the stuff where, okay, we can be okay with letting up a goal 2 minutes later because, we found a way back and we tied the game. That's great. It's the regular season. Don't let this become a thing in the playoffs because you know what happens if you score a goal to take a lead and the other team scores 30 seconds later, boom, life sucked out of you, the building, whatever it may be. Or the flip side, if you tie it and then they score to take the lead or however it may play out, it can kill momentum, it can kill a crowd, whatever, and that's not something you can afford in the playoffs. Big picture here, Max, like, why do you think that this is the case? Is this just kind of the story that we've seen with this group where it's we can't find ways to start on time, and now we've at least figured out how to start on time, but maybe we fall asleep or take a quick nap once that goal is scored by us and the other team's able to jump on us right away?
Big picture, I mean, I was sitting there and I was being pretty negative throughout that game, but honestly, I want to be positive about this Leafs team, and the thing that I got to say is that those things happen to every team in the league. Every
Yeah.
team will go through those things where you score a goal and you get scored right back. That doesn't bother me at all, and I wouldn't even spend an ounce of my time thinking about that. The thing that I was happy about in the third period is that they came out and they actually put in effort. You could tell that every player was skating the hardest that they possibly could, and they're all trying hard. And that's all I asked for. Win
Yeah.
or lose, that's all I care about. It's not the fact that they lost 3 in a row. It's the fact that you come out against Vancouver and you look like you don't even belong in the NHL. That's what I care about, the effort.
I think that this is a much better effort here tonight as well. Look, the honest answer is that there could have been better execution. Like, Crit Commanda is pretty pissed in the chat there and was basically before I even clicked the go live button. And everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's the one thing I want to kind of point out. Sometimes you may disagree with people. I come on here times where people are pissed at me that I'm pissed about stuff that happens. It is what it is. But I think, yeah, execution-wise, there was some sloppy stuff. That's it. It was what it was. But effort-wise, they seemed more engaged. They seemed more intense and willing to get into the battle, which to me was much more of a step in a positive direction here tonight that I can at least walk away from and say, like, I wouldn't have been mad at a loss. It would have been something we probably would have came on here and made jokes about, that they lost 4 in a row or whatever, or maybe had some concerns about the team bigger picture, but it was the step in the right direction from an effort perspective. And I think along with that will come some of the execution. And kind of where I want to go with this as well. And I'm curious if you agree, because I saw people right away jumping on it in the chat there. And I kind of am in the same boat, and you tell me if I'm wrong. You tell me if this is dumb. I'm starting, and I don't know the right way to word it because concern is maybe too aggressive. I'm starting to have questions about Joseph Woll's. See, I don't even know how to put this for the question here, Max. If you know where I'm going with this, my concern is with Joseph Woll as a starter, is I guess what I'm saying. And because I look at the last couple of games, he's had some shaky moments. He's obviously taking on a big workload here. Maybe there's some fatigue that's built into some of this, but he's looked a little bit swimmy here. He's given up some rebounds. He's kind of gotten lost at times, maybe fallen asleep in a couple of situations. And I think some of that burned them here tonight or put them behind the eight ball against the Devils. Am I wrong with that?
I think you're a little bit wrong with that. I think
Okay.
that first of all, he is still a young goaltender, so it is just the regular season, as Leafs fans always like to say. So you got to take it with a little bit of grain of salt. Some of the goals that have been going by him have been unlucky ones. And to be honest, you can't judge the goalie when the team has played so poorly in front of him over these last 3 games. Like you got to start from,
It's
the
fair.
team first, like sure, we could be sitting here talking about like Anthony Stolars would have like stolen those games. He's just so amazing, but he's hurt right now. So like we got walled and you got to deal with it. And I think that he's still been a good goalie. It's just you hit these little patches, you get the wrong bounces, and your team's playing like absolute trash in front of you. So I think that he's like the last person that I would start to get questioning about. Like I think he's fine. He'll be fine. At the beginning of the season, we didn't know who the starter was going to be. Halfway through the season, we still don't know who the starter is going to be. It could be Stolars, it could be Wall. It doesn't really matter. That's not like the two of them. They both play well. That's not going to be the reason why we win or lose. It's going to be whether the core four shows up, whether Riley actually decides he's worth his contract, or any of that sort of stuff, right? So I wouldn't worry about Wall at all.
Okay, I mean I think that's fair. Probably bigger picture. In the moment here, and especially doing game reactions, we're talking about a game to game. I think he needed to be better tonight. I do. A couple of those goals, like the one Keefe goal that scored on their power play, the one that OEL took the penalty on. You can say what we want about penalty kill collapsing or OEL taking a penalty at a bad time. He looked a little bit swimmy there to me. He looked like he wasn't completely squared up. I think there was some stuff that was maybe trailing behind with his play where he was kind of chasing it a little bit physically, trying to get across and overcommitting to some of these things. But I would probably tend to agree with you in terms of big picture and whether or not he's going to be okay when it comes to that. And I mean, on top of that, I would also say when Anthony Stolars comes back, are some of these problems going to evaporate? I would also assume so because we're going to dial down where we're at on the fatigue meter, which I think will help. You brought up someone there, and I want to get your thoughts and hear where you're at on it because he's becoming more and more of a story as this season has gone on. At first, he kind of slid under the radar because, well, we had these shiny new toys in Chris Tanev and in Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and these guys that jumped in and we went, holy shit, look how good these guys are. Look how impactful they are in the play. And also another guy who I would just throw out there, I'm never going to take Jake McCabe for granted again. The way that this guy played tonight, I'm watching this
Oh
going,
man,
oh
I
my
love
God, like
McCabe.
unbelievable. And him and the pairing of him and Tanev is lights out. Like I'm just imagining a playoff series with those two guys. I don't know where it goes with the rest of the four, and honestly it could be a fucking nightmare. But between Tanev and McCabe right now, just imagine those two guys in a 7-game series. That's fun to watch. The guy who is a concern right now is the guy who makes the most money out of those 6, and that's Morgan Riley. And he slid under the radar to start the season. We wasn't really that noticeable. We all kind of said, okay, it is what it is. At this point where we're at now in the year, 46 games in, quite honestly, he's not been good enough. And more often than not good enough is actually a gentle term to use when describing Morgan Riley's play. He's been pretty bad. I thought tonight was a little bit more of a little bit of a shaky night for him here yet again. You're looking at a guy who they're putting OEL out there. They're putting 5 forwards out there on the power play because they're trying to find ways around it and not trusting him or whatever it may be. what do you make of Morgan Riley's play right now, and kind of maybe even big picture, what the hell this team has to do if a guy who's making the most money out of your decor is going to be, as 6 1/3 says, out of position on the first goal and losing their spot on the ice and their awareness, or looking behind the play, or being an offensive defenseman that you say, hey, that guy doesn't need to play defense because he gets points, and then he doesn't get any points. Like, where are you at on Morgan Riley right now?
I mean, at the end there, you said a couple of key things I completely agree with. First of all, it's like his contract. Second of all, he's just the offensive defenseman who's not getting any points. Like we have all these other defensemen, like you said, McCabe and Tanev and Benoit, and we have these defensive defensemen who can't really score very much, but they're gonna defend. And like, who is on your blue line that is supposed to give you points? Who is your Quinn Hughes? Who is your offensive defenseman? It's Riley. And I have been somebody who over the years have defended Riley because it's so easy to take shots at him and criticize him for not doing what he wants to do on the ice or whatever. But this year, it's actually been a little bit worrying. Like, I actually look at his play, and I don't think I've ever seen him play worse than this. And you just kind of hope that he's going to snap out of it at some point. And that's really all you can do with a no move clause. Like, there's nothing we can do to ship him away. So you're kind of stuck with him. And, well, hopefully he shows up for the playoffs. I guess that's all I got.
As pointed out there, unknown saying every goal out of play or out of place. Also saying Riley's been dog shit for years, hated the signing, honestly. The other thing too, I mean, I don't know where this finished the game at, but just another stat I want to throw out there. I wish I had the updated stat on it, but I was looking at this. It was tweeted out at the end of the first period there, I believe. Maple Leafs, this is by Sportsnet Stats. Maple Leafs have been outscored 10-1 at 5-on-5 in their last 10 games with Morgan Riley on the ice.
Not good enough. Not good enough.
That's your most expensive defenseman.
Yeah, it's mildly embarrassing, Like, it really is. But like, what can you do? We're stuck with them.
Max, I've asked you a lot of questions here and asked for a lot of thoughts on tonight's game. Is there anything that you were thinking or walking away from, or when you saw the link in the chat, which anybody else, if you want to call into the show here tonight and give your thoughts, we may have our guy Pasquale, Alex, call in later. But if anybody else wants to call in, you click that link. You're welcome to do so, just like Max. Max, when you click that link, was there anything you were thinking, I got to talk about this on the show tonight?
The number one thing that I wanted to talk about was the fact that I was screaming at the television in the second period, and like, here we go again, and like, oh my God, it's the Leafs. I was getting ready to come on and give you some super chats about how miserable this team is, and they actually showed effort in the third, and like, my dad called me up after the game, and he's normally really hard on the Leafs, and he's like, yeah, they showed some effort, they showed like they wanted to win. It's like shocking, right? Like, oh my God, like, people talk about Nathan McKinnon all the time and like how he's angry when he loses and he just doesn't want to lose, you know what I mean? And that's that compete level is just not there in the core four very often. And so like, when you actually see Marner going out there, Nylander going out there, Matthews going out there and stepping up and trying hard, like, whether you win or lose, when you see the effort, that just makes me so happy, and that's all I can ask for. That's all I gotta say.
I'm gonna give you one more question here, and I'm sure if anybody else wants to, they're more than welcome, and I'll continue to read the chat here as well. But this power play gets on the board, and I mean, Rosie tweeted it out during the game. If people aren't following any of us, myself, Rosie, whoever it may be on Twitter, make sure to head on X, whatever it's called. Make sure to head on over there and follow us. But has pointed out, you shoot the puck, good things can happen. Like, who would have thought? A shot through from the point by William Nylander with Matthew Nyes got his ass in Markstrom's face there, and a little rebound pops out, and it's Austin Matthews, who's kind of rolling down around the bottom of the cage, who picks up that rebound and tucks it home. How did you feel about this team's power play here tonight? The fact that they got on the board, and I mean, let's say it how it is. the simplicity of that goal and what we've all been screaming as fans for a long, long, long time here now when it comes to that power play.
I think that I wouldn't particularly get my hopes up right now with the power play. Like, sure, we got some goals. That's great. But the simplicity is exactly what's needed. And I watch during the game, sometimes I watch another channel, 2BC Productions. Shout out to John. And his shtick is he thinks, and I kind of agree, that we should put Philip Myers on the point on the PP.
My dad thinks that too.
Like, he just the classic clap bomb from the point, just slap it on net and see what happens. Keep it simple, you know what I mean?
And he can shoot the puck.
Yeah, he can. So I mean, he's probably going to do better than what Riley is doing right now. So I mean, yeah. Philip Myers on PP1. Let's go. Let's start the movement. Tell Rosie to get them to put them on there.
Yeah, we'll get Rosie in the morning show, the morning boys, to get a push going on Leafs Morning Take. Philippe Myers for Power Play 1. That's the new campaign that we're going to start here. Max, I will let you go, but before you leave, is there anything else you want to say? Hot takes, predictions, thoughts, comments, anything you want to leave Leafs Nation with?
I would love to join you in Nashville, and I hope you have a great time.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Max. I hope you can't come though, right?
I can't. I just renovated my basement. I can't. No more money left. I'd love to, though.
Fair enough. Check the couch cushions and maybe. Yeah. But, Max, I know. I had seen you say that in the chat, so I figured that was the case. But I appreciate that. Thank you very much. You enjoy the rest of your night. Also, by the way, quickly, because I rarely get to speak to people in the chat other than just kind of me saying it to them or typing it in the chat. Thank you so much for all the super chats over the years, and especially the other night. Obviously now charity partner here on the show. Proceeds going to sick kids. It's just an awesome initiative that's being run here on this channel, and you are a major, major contributor to that. So I thank you. The chat thanks you. Leafs Nation thanks you, and I'm sure Sick Kids thanks you as well.
Well, I don't do that just for nothing. You guys are the best after game Leaf show and morning show that I've ever been a part of and listened to. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much, Max. I appreciate it as always. And with that, we'll get you out of here. So thank you very much to our friend Maxentius Decimus, a regular in the chat, someone you guys see probably every single game. I'm not kidding. I'm here after pretty much every game. You guys, I know a lot of you. I'm looking at the chat right now. There's a lot of regular customers in the chat. There's Darren McNeil, our friend Tammy. We've got Billy T, Carl DeCunha. Who else is here in the chat right now? Comes back. Mike Batson, Diz K, Debo, Robert, Maxentius obviously in there as well. 6 1/3 buzzing around. I'm not ignoring you if our man AK, not ignoring you guys if I didn't say your names. I do appreciate all the world's a stage. Appreciate you. Worm Castings, there you go. Alex A in there as well. Plenty of you guys joining along. So thank you all as always. But Max, there you go. And as Max brought it up, wishes he could join us in Nashville. He can't, but hopefully some of you guys can join us in Nashville because March 20th to 23rd, we're heading to Nashville for a nation vacation. Myself, Rosie, Carter, Hutton, Alberga, producer Vic will be making our way down to Nashville 20th to 23rd, watching a Leafs game in Nashville against the Preds there. Live podcast, a winery tour. We're going to a bar. We're going to be having a meetup there with everyone and doing some of the live pods. Love an Elixir wine bar, Carter Hutton's bar. So pretty cool stuff there as well. Make sure to head on over, check out everything going on at nationgear.ca. Flight packages, no flight packages. It is what it is. I am a massive country music fan. I've never been to Nashville. Maybe going to have to check out boots, cowboy hats, whatever it may be down there while we are in Nashville. But I mean, as per all of that, and I'm going to have the time of my life. And I hope a lot of you guys will be joining us down in Nashville there as well. It will be an absolutely unbelievable experience. That animation gives me the most trouble I've ever seen. I'm trying to watch this thing in the corner of the screen to see what goes on and what's happening. I keep clicking the button and it's just sitting there and like not doing anything. I'm like looking at this animation that's just not moving. I'm like, I can see it. I have like a little monitor on the corner screen trying to see what's happening, and it's just there's nothing. There's nothing. Like it plays like a second late. It holds up on the screen, the audio. I think it's just my like I've got this little like pad here. I'm sure some of you guys have seen this that I play some of the stuff off. I think it's just slow reacting. Maybe I gotta like reset it, or if I've just had it for too long, I'm not really sure. But every now and then that happens here on the show where I click a button and just it goes nowhere. Max says I was so miserable in the second period, and after that third, I knew I needed to call in. Well, thank you. If anybody else in the chat wants to call in, I do see we have another caller here waiting. So while I tee this up, but people who are watching right now, if you do want to call in, you want to also give your thoughts on the game here tonight. You want to let us know how you're feeling about this one, how you feel after this Leafs win, making sure that this losing streak doesn't extend out to 4 consecutive games, and 4 consecutive games in regulation would have been the first time since 2019. So they at least avoided that one no matter what by getting this thing to overtime here tonight. We do have another caller on the line. Who am I listening to? Who is on the line, and how are you feeling after this Leafs game?
You're listening to Alex A, and I'm doing pretty good, especially after that nice W. How about yourself, Zach?
On my end. See, there you go. There you go. There you go. Who am I listening to? Who's on the line here?
It's Alex A calling in.
Oh, there you go, Alex. What's up?
I'm doing good. How are you, Zach?
Not bad. When I switch, when I have one caller and then I go to the next caller and I'm doing that on the move, the audio sometimes, because it's on like the same link, but it's from a different link, if that makes sense, like it's 2 different callers, it will just not play in my ears only. Everyone in the chat can hear you, but not me. So that's what happens there. Alex, I'm glad you're able to call in. I was messaging you asking if you wanted to call in. I wasn't really sure if you were going to make it. You did. How are you feeling after this game tonight?
I'm feeling awesome. I mean, it was a shaky start, with the goals going back and forth. But obviously Matthews and Nylander came in clutch, which was, nice to see after the losing streak we've been on.
I am curious if you kind of felt the same way Maxentius did. He called in and he said it in the chat there as well. After about the second period, he was feeling frustrated, maybe like a little concerned about the way that the game was going. I was kind of I was not as pessimistic as Maxentius was by the sounds of things, but I was a little bit concerned there as well. I just felt like at least the effort was better. Like, I felt like we were heading in the right direction from that perspective. How did you feel? Were you closer to me? Were you closer to Maxentius getting ready to yell at the screen? Like, what was the thought process halfway through the second period here tonight?
That's really that's a really good way to describe it between the two of you. Honestly, I was on the fence. I mean, I was a little more optimistic a little bit. As I'm like, hey, these guys got to get out of this slump, I'm like, Matthews has got to turn up sometime here, or even Willie, right? Because Willie's been very cold for the last little while here, and those guys I had a little bit, I had that faith in, and they clutched up, which was great. And I mean, yeah, I was, getting a little concerned, but I'm like, hey, we can't be losing 4 here in a row. Like, this, especially against Keefe, man. I'm like, we can't be losing to Keefe. Like, it's just not going to look great. I know we all these fans usually overreact with a lot of things. So it's kind of funny. I'm like, all right. And my dad was kind of wanting to scream at the TV, and I'm like, just wait, and we'll see what goes on. But yeah, it's kind of like, I'd say similar to more on your side there. I wasn't going to yell, but I was like getting close if it would have been south at the end of the third period, of course.
Well, I at least felt better about effort, right? Like, I think
for sure.
Honestly, this is going to sound sad, especially considering we're talking about a team that were like, oh, Stanley Cup contenders. But the bar was set so low here that the idea of giving effort was like, let's celebrate this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, holy shit, this team is trying. Like,
yeah,
gotta hand it to them. We're giving an effort here tonight.
No, exactly. And that's what me and my dad have been talking about. Like, we watched most of these games together, and he's like, man, he's like, just some of these guys, man. It's like he's like, they don't hate to lose. I'm like, yeah, you got it, man. I'm like, they don't hate to lose. Like, they really don't.
Yeah. Well, also too, there's a difference, right? Oh, I love to win. I love to win. I love to win. That's great. You love to win, but do you hate to lose? There's a difference.
Exactly.
It's the cheesiest line ever, but it's so true. Like, it's so true. You may love to win, but do you hate to lose? And it feels like this team often at times doesn't hate to lose. They did find a way to get this one done here tonight. I'm curious. We didn't ask Max about this. What were your thoughts on Nylander's response? Because I've been kind of holding off on this one, and I think people may be a little pissed off at me when I throw this out there, especially for a guy who scored 2 goals tonight. He made the comment the other day that good teams find a way out of this. It's 3 games. What are we worried about? I bet on him for anytime goal scorer here tonight. We gave it out as the best bet. I think Rosie gave it out on the morning show too, which is kind of funny because I wasn't even able to catch the morning show today here. So we ended up both on that one. But I think he was better than where he was at the other day, the other games, and we've been looking at him basically. I don't know, Alex, what would you say here? 8 to 10 games of pretty much like, we're looking for putting up missing posters for William Nylander, and gets 2 goals tonight, but I think he was heading in the right direction. I don't think he was all the way back for who William Nylander is and what we need out of him on a nightly basis. Am I wrong? Are you mad at me for that statement? Like, what do you think about what are you thinking about that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you on that. I mean, yeah, I'd say he's been really slow since I'd say like the start of the year, maybe even at the end of December, even, right? Like, it's been frustrating watching him. And like, I have a lot of faith in Willie. Like, the old heads, right? A lot of them usually don't like Willie. They'll say, oh, he's too soft, his effort sucks, that kind of thing, right? I think you get the picture of that. And I like my dad sometimes, like, he's a great talented player. He's like, he's just sometimes he's too lazy. Sometimes I'm like, listen, but in the playoffs, when it matters, he's the guy that is usually the best player realistically, right? Coming in clutch moments and that kind of thing. So I try and be optimistic with Willie, and it's just like it's been a bad stretch so far. I'm like, no doubt about it at all. But I think there's he was gonna come around, and I think he's gonna come around more. And it's just he has these slumps always. Every year he has these slumps. It's nothing new, right? It's been a thing throughout his career. So that's why I haven't been panicking. I mean, if it was continuing too long, I would have been like, but he played better tonight. I just hope his effort continues to improve, and it's not that you have to score 2-3 goals every night, but it's your effort levels and being a contributing factor. We know what Willie's game is, right? So set our expectations to be realistic. That's the biggest thing, I think.
I am normally in the defend William Nylander camp there as well, and I mean, I'm not gonna like lose my mind here tonight because I do think he had in the right direction. And I mean, there's gonna be people who are mad that I even brought anything up given the fact that he scored 2 goals. But I mean, the thing for me is that over the last, I think, 2 to 3 years, he's pretty much found a way to like tidy up the 8 to 10 game disappearing acts. He was able to pull a fast one on us where you look at the end of the night and you're like, whoa, Nylander played tonight. Like, 1 shot on goal, like 18 minutes in time on ice or 17 minutes of time on ice, no goals, no assists, no plus minus. You're like, what the fuck happened in those 18 minutes? Because it's like you didn't notice him. You didn't see anything that happened. He was really not doing anything. It happens from time to time. He'll do it for 2-3 games, and over the last couple of years, it's been a thing. It is what it is. Every NHL player can go through those periods, especially it's an 82-game season. It's a long season. It's a grind, and especially this year, I will say at least, like, which maybe is why this is happening. I don't know, but you're getting a lot of games in a short period of time because you're getting the 4 Nations is pushing a lot of stuff apart where it's putting that split in there in February. And Max Enti is saying, I agree with Alex, this typical Willie slump. He'll show up when we need him. I agree with all that, and I'm on the same page as you, Alex, for this fact that, like, I'm a defender of this guy. I believe in him. This is just the longest slump I've seen out of William Nylander in probably 3-4 years. And that was where it started to concern me, that maybe there was an element of checking out or not liking the coach or whatever it may have been. And it was a weird flip from where he was at the beginning of the season, where there was a majority of the time when I would say he's the best player on the team.
No, exactly. No, I agree 100%, man. It's frustrating watching players like this at times because like when the talent's there and you've seen these great moments, and it's frustrating. But obviously, like you said, it's an 82 game season, and the back-to-back games so often, can cause sometimes these things. But obviously, these guys need to obviously be better, right? So, and you mentioned it with the previous caller about Joseph Wall, right? And
Yeah.
maybe the games are kind of catching up to him. He's not used to this kind of workload, which, I mean, it's not a great excuse, but still just try and give some leeway and hopefully be a little optimistic. But I definitely can see the concerns with these kind of, repeated, things that keep occurring with these kind of players, right? It's just not good patterns you want to see, especially, we're getting towards the end of the season, which we're only about halfway through or past halfway through, but still at the end of this in April, March, you don't want to be seeing this kind of stuff for sure.
Alex, anything else you wanted to talk about here tonight, calling into the show, giving some thoughts here?
One thing I wanted to really talk was, and I talked about it before, but Jake McCabe, I'm so happy he was back. Like I was talking about it with my dad. I'm like, he is a big reason we've been on this losing streak. I'm not blaming it 100% on him, obviously not being there, but he's a big factor. Our defense looks a lot more solid with him and Tanev as a shutdown pair, and they just control the defensive zone way better. You got more confidence. They're going to both block pucks. They're both going to be checking guys. You watch how McCabe got injured. He was doing it, fighting for the crest on his jersey, right? So like you got to give him hats off for that. So it's something that we got to appreciate. And we signed the guy. I forget how many years, 4 years or something like that. Beginning of the season, we signed him an extension. I forget what the exact extension was. 4 or 5, yeah. And honestly, I forget what the number was. I think it was pretty 4.5, maybe. But
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah. But it puts a smile on my face even talking about the guy. The guy's a straight beauty. He's a beauty.
5 years at $4.5 million per after
million.
This one. So starts next year, and then he'll be a part of this group for a while. But yeah, I mean, Alex, to your point about McCabe there too, it's a stabilizing presence. I'm watching Tanev and McCabe. It's like neither of these guys are offensive players, but watch them in the one thing that I think I admire about their games is the simplicity to it, right? It's like, if you could dial it back and just do caveman hockey, like that's kind of what those guys bring, block shot, strong stick, shoot puck, go to the offensive zone, they go across the blue line, and it's like Tanev gets the puck it's literally like minor hockey shit that you're like, these guys are just executing this stuff to perfection in the NHL.
Exactly.
Puck comes from the forward in the corner. Chris Tanev gets the puck, boom, right across the ice to Jake McCabe on the other side. Everyone on the ice got to go chasing across to McCabe over there, and McCabe on his stick, off of his stick, puck's on the net. And it's like, dude, this is what you do in minor hockey when you're like forward pass to the point, defenseman pass it to the middle of the ice, and that guy shoot. Like, you've been learning this shit since you're 7 years old. And the two of them going out there together are just like, let's play simple, let's play smart, and no one gets by us. The highlight tape of these guys here tonight, they might have had like 2 shots on goal, 3 shots on goal total between the two of them. And then you watch down the other end, they probably blocked like 10 shots. And I say that like loosely when I say they blocked 10 shots, because there were shots, that are like indirect blocks. And what I mean by that is a guy is going in a direct lane, he's got a perfect shot at the net, boom, Tanev or McCabe gets down, they get a leg down, and the guy can't shoot the puck now, and he's got to step away. Like, in my mind, that may not show up on the score sheet as a blocked shot. It may not go down because the guy didn't shoot the puck and it hit the guy's leg, but he prevented a shot, if that makes sense. Like, they're taking away opportunities, time, and space. These guys are willing to eat anything and everything at any given time during the game. It's just so impressive, their willingness to put their bodies on the line. McCabe, 5 block shots here tonight. Like, that's nuts. Chris Tanev's only credited for 1, but I mean, just watching his play tonight and his ability to take away those opportunities from other people. It could have felt like he blocked a million here tonight. So those guys, just an unbelievable performance. But Alex, before I let you go, anything else that you wanted to add or anything like that?
We need to keep believing, and Morgan Riley's got to step the hell up. That's really what I got to say. That's, I think, the last thing. It was McCabe and Riley, man. Night and day difference between these two players. It's totally different stories between these guys. One's coming off an injury, and he's playing great, and the other one looks like, I don't know, he's injured or been asleep the whole season. One of the two.
I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate you doing this here. It's been a while since we've heard from you. There was a period there where we kind of dialed off the callers, but we are back. We are getting callers back in the other day. So we're going to keep that going. Obviously, Albergo will be joining Saturday night against the Canadians, which should be an electric one regardless of result, and post-game shows should be electric. And then we'll see what we've got for timing on either side, before or after. I mean, we'll probably take some callers then. Alex, you are always welcome on the show here, as is Max Entius. But appreciate you taking the time to do this. Anything before you go?
Everyone keep believing, and hope to talk to you all soon. You guys are great. Thanks, Zach.
Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it as always. There you go. There's our second caller of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, the calls are back here on the Leafs Nation channel. It was something that I had been doing for a long time. We brought it into here a little bit. We've obviously got some pretty incredible guests coming through. Took a little bit of a break for a period of time, but we are right back into this thing. Thank you guys, as always, for hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel. We hit 50 likes here on the stream. We hit 50 likes. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Let's get this channel to 15,000 subscribers here. We are very close, but till then, I mean, keep liking the streams. We're at 50 here. We've almost got 200 people watching. We've got almost 200 people watching. We should be able to hit 100 likes here, no problem. So thank you all for the first 50. Let's do it. There we go. All right. We're going to take a second here after we hit those, and we'll come back and we'll do some grade of the game. We'll do a play of the game. We'll also get into our best bet that won here tonight and got us out of a little bit of a hole that we were in after some bad play. But I don't know if you guys were aware. Earlier today, launching on this channel was a very cool interview with a massive Leafs fan. The video came out. It's on podcast platforms. You can check it out in the links in the description to this show. Make sure to head on over there. But I'm going to play you guys a clip from an interview of Stephen Brunt with his new series, Up Close, and Adam Copeland, a guy who's been on the morning show many, many times to talk with Alberga and Rosie about this Leafs team. We'll be back on the other side, but I wanted you guys to see this firsthand. What is coming and what is out on the Leafs Nation YouTube channel, Up Close with Stephen Brunt and Adam Copeland.
The first shows I read about was Monarch Park, right? Where the first show, which was an interesting place. There are micro circuits, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool. But so there were those opportunities, right? There were those places to kind of go and say, okay, I'm gonna try this out.
There were, but they're far fewer between at that stage.
Yeah.
You know, it really, it's cyclical, right? It goes in cycles. And when it's booming, then that means all the little mom and pops start back up and, hey, we can run a show now and there might be fans. And for me, that was the only way to gain experience. And there was no social media to get a clip on for people to see. Like, I carried around a VHS cassette with a little promo music video showing what I did. And I would hand it to everybody on that show and just hope that they didn't go, okay, well, that's competition. I'm not handing it to the promoter. Screw that. But that was the only way. It was just get tapes out, send tapes. So I would send tapes in the mail to any promotion I'd find the address of. I'd send it to Mexico. I'd send it to ECW. I'd send it out to BC, wherever I could, which is how we ended up getting, Winnipeg dates and how we started touring with Tony Condello and doing the Northern Death tours. And that's where all that came from. And then we got all of that experience from there, and wrestling in a 10x10 ring after driving across a lake to get there. And it's minus 72 Celsius outside, and you're sleeping on blue, gymnastics mats, and eating craft dinner because the only place you have to get food is in the home ec room, where you're cooking your own supplies and eating tuna. And
Glamorous life, man.
Glamorous life of a superstar. But would I be able to pull that off now? Hell no. But I look back at it now, and it was so formative, and it was so instrumental to getting tools in the tool belt to go forward.
Very, very cool. Very cool. Stephen Brunt, Adam Copeland, right here on this channel. You guys can watch the video here. You guys can also listen on podcast platforms. You can find the links in the description of the show here. Make sure to check that out. With that said, we had a couple of callers. We get a little clip thrown in there. You guys have heard about the Nation Vacation, nationgear.ca, which you should. One thing that is cool about this upcoming weekend here is that it feels like the first time in a while we're having like a Friday off. Like, we're going to be going into this one, and we've got nothing going on, at least from the perspective of, okay, we don't have maybe we don't have Leafs game coming up on Friday. Feel like this condensed schedule has been nuts, and maybe you're looking for an opportunity to blow off steam. Maybe you're looking for an opportunity to go out and hang out with your friends and have some drinks, and I've got the perfect place for you. That would be at Greta. This segment is brought to you by our friends at Greta Bar, a great spot before, during, and after the game. Check out the great street food menu they've got, and games in the arcade. I love the basketball pop-up, but there's also one downstairs in the Toronto bar. It's the Connect 4 basketball pop-up. Maybe one of my favorite spots to go, one of my favorite games to play. They've got like a little bubble hockey area in there. You can kick people's asses at the air hockey in the back. Like, there is plenty of games, anything you're looking for. I've even dialed into the not the Connect 4, the what's it called? The Twister. They've got a Twister that you play, but it's like on the ground and on the wall. You step your feet onto it, put your hands up on the wall, and touch different colors as it comes up. Pretty electric games they've got there in Greta. Massive one here in Toronto, 590 King Street West. I'm pretty actually regularly there, and with another Friday night open, that's the spot you will be finding me here this weekend, downtown Toronto. So make sure to head on over to Greta Bar, because Greta Bar is the place to be. 590 King Street West, Greta Bar. Let the games begin. It is an awesome spot to be heading to, and that is where I will be. I'm trying to read the chat here and catch up with what you guys are. Brett Longfield, Greta. Yes, make sure to head on over there. Mike's, I've been to Greta. I like it there, but it's overcrowded. It's not. That's a thing, though, especially the downtown one. Like, the downtown Toronto one is not overcrowded. 2 floors. It's massive. There's plenty of space. I've been there a lot, whether it's weekdays, Friday, Saturday, it doesn't matter. I head on over there. I've never had an issue with crowding. There's plenty of space, plenty of spots to go. 2 floors, numerous bars that you can head to. Like, that's never a concern. I hate going to bars and having to be jam-packed in there. It's just not been an issue for me that I've had to experience ever at Greta Bar. So, love that. 590 King Street West. All right, we've got a super chat here on the show, so let's get to our Sick Kids super chat. KPG, good teams find their way out of this. It's only been 3 games. What's the big deal, really? Quotes. Some guy who got the OT goal. KPG, that is correct. Thank you for the super chat there. Appreciate it, as always. But, yeah, I mean, look, William Nylander had some comments the other day that got kind of scoffed at, maybe. And he found a way to kind of step right up, which I think is superstar material, honestly, when you talk about that. You go out there and you put your mouth your mouth out there and you say some stuff like that. You put your nuts on the line and you say, hey, you know what? It's only 3 games. Let's not worry about this. Good teams find their way out of it. And then you yourself follow it up with a game where you have 2 goals and an assist here tonight. That's a monster performance by William Nylander. Again, I still think there's more to be desired. Again, I still think he could be better than he was here tonight. I don't think he was back to full Willie, but holy smokes. That's headed in the right direction, and that's a lot more refreshing than what we've seen out of the guy over like the last 8 to 10 games. He was pretty dialed in here tonight, and to be able to get those couple of goals, end this thing in overtime after those comments that were made, like that's superstar stuff. That's big man stuff from a guy who makes a lot of money and deserves to make a lot of money. So shout out to William Nylander for that. Let's get now to our play of the game. Play of the game for me. Play of the game for me here tonight. I think my play of the game would be the Matthews goal to tie it. It was obviously it's a look. The last couple of games, I think we've headed in the right direction here for Austin Matthews since returning to injury. That's been the theme of the night, heading in the right direction. That second Matthews goal was unbelievable. Like, actually outrageous. Crossing the line. Well, also, by the way, Marner, who gets the puck on the wall, takes a hit to make the play, drops that puck off to Matthews just off the wall. Nice little tidy drop pass that goes there. As he's ripping into the zone, he picks it off going in. As he drives to the net, he goes short side tit past Markstrom right by the ear. Like, that's a spot that is basically unstoppable by the goaltender, but is so hard to hit unless you are a guy who can shoot the puck like that and score goals like Austin Matthews did. That is an unbelievable goal, an Austin Matthews goal, and this guy is looking more and more like Austin Matthews every single night. That goal, in that moment, tie the game, get the crowd on their feet. He's pumped up. Everybody's following in line with him there. The Leafs seem like they were rocking after that, which obviously it's a little late in the game. You want to make sure you get that intensity like a little bit earlier. But regardless, everything is going in their direction. He's saying, let's go, put this on my back. And one thing that I've kind of been frustrated with or feel like these guys have been lacking is that moment where you're down. You're playing a tough game. You're playing a big game or a good opponent. You're trailing in a game and the big boys say, let's fucking go. I got this. I'll put you on my back and I will carry you into this. And Matthews did. He carried them into the fire. He scores that goal. He was going with power, intensity, like that stride, which is not something Matthews does a lot. But one thing I watch, and one of the reasons why Nathan McKinnon is one of my favorite players in the league, is because how intense and angry he looks and how mean he looks. Like, he looks like he's skating so hard he might go through the ice. Like, when he's stomping, he might go through the ice to get there. And that was Matthews on that goal, entering that zone, going to the net with power, with force. I was like, I'm not going to be stopped kind of mentality by Austin Matthews. Gets to the net, goes absolutely tit over Markstrom's shoulder, right by his ear. What a goal by the guy there to score that one. Just an awesome, awesome performance from the big boys tonight. Marner, Nylander, and Matthews stepping up in the absence of John Tavares. Just imagine where you'd be at if Morgan Rielly also stepped up as well. Heading in the right direction for this team, at least. Still work to do. Better effort. Execution not 100% there. Look at the deserve to win a meter here tonight as well. New Jersey did have 73.7% chance, which is another one of those things where it's like, dude, if you're a Devils fan, you're watching Keefe, you're going, holy fuck, we took what they had and they had frustrations with them. We've got it here now, which I think Keefe's probably a pretty good coach, but oh my God. Yeah. The one thing I will say, that execution is going to have to turn around quicker than later. Effort here. Effort was given. Execution still needed to go. Defense needed to tighten up a little bit. Joseph Woll needs to be a little bit better. But I think based on effort alone, and the fact that they didn't give up, and the fact that they didn't let themselves get out of this thing, I think that's something that we can be, as Leafs fans, impressed with and happy about as we move forward. Good game from that as well tonight from Jake McCabe, who returns from concussion. Let's get to our best bet segment here, and we'll do a quick recap on this one, but something I'm pumped about because it's you're talking about the Leafs heading in the right direction, and that's been the theme of the night. We are heading in the right direction with our best bets, and our best bets are brought to you by Bet365, proud partner of the Leafs Nation After Dark and the Leafs Nation pregame show. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use code NATION, NATION, code NATION, NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. My best bet tonight was William Nylander anytime goal, and for a lot of the reasons that we've just discussed about why it was a big game for Nylander here was he said the other day that good teams find their way out of it. Good teams find ways to win. Good teams find ways to end these slumps and end these streaks. And he kind of went into the forefront about it and said it's not something to worry about. And no matter what, that's going to put a little bit of an extra target on your back. Even if they lost here tonight, how did William Nylander play? How did he show up in this moment? And you know what? I still think there was stuff to be desired from his game, but he played a lot better. And he played a lot better, and his results were there as well. 2 goals and an assist from number 88. Just unbelievable way to kind of say, I put it out there. I put my nuts on the line, and I performed, and I showed up. So shout out to William Nylander. Guy is a weapon. Bet on himself, and he pulled through. I bet on him. Hopefully you guys bet on him as well, because I know Rosie bet on him there too. But pulling through. You've got to appreciate that from Willie Nye. Let's get to our final segment here. You guys know it if you've been watching the show for a long time, and hopefully if you haven't been watching for a long time or you're new to the show, whatever it may be, you catch on quick and you come back soon. Let's get to our grade of the game. My grade of the game is going to be a B+. I'm not into the A range, but power play scores a goal here tonight, and not only does the power play score and go 50%, 1 for 2 on that, but I mean, I could even go lower. I'm kind of debating going into the A, or the B, sorry, but it was a big moment. Your superstars stepped up. You beat Sheldon Keefe here in Toronto, his first game here. You sweep the season series against the Devils. You find ways to win against this Devils team that were very... Like, you flipped it on him is more where I'm going with this, where it was like Sheldon Keefe stuff that we saw this Leafs team do in the years past. You did to Sheldon Keefe and the New Jersey Devils. You lost the deserve to win a meter. Your goalie didn't play that great. There was a period in the second period. There was a extended period, actually, in the second period where I think it was about 10 minutes where the Devils were basically like held to no shots. It was all Leafs during that time, and it was all Markstrom who's kind of having to bail you out, and then the Leafs just find a way to come back and tie it, and then the Devils get ahead, and then the Leafs tie it, and you kind of were just never out of this one. Things that you'd want to be better, honestly, going forward would be penalty kill, which has kind of hit a little bit of a lull here. The one thing is, which, I mean, is going to sound kind of counterintuitive to where I've been at with like power play and everything like that over the last couple of games and maybe like throughout the course of the season, is the penalty kill has been like the bright spot in all the negative stretches that this team has gone on. And with them slumping a little bit here, I'm just going to not like jam panic button, because I trust that they'll get out of it. Like, this is just a short spurt for them where it's like two games really of not looking that great. I think they fix this. I think that it'll be okay. It wasn't great here tonight. There were some moments when you needed some stops and you needed them to come up big, especially like the OEL penalty that they didn't. But I do think long term, the penalty kill will be fine. They've been so good, and the system has been so good for this Leafs team until this point that it's like, okay, there's reason for optimism and reason to believe it'll turn around. Power play, I would at least say here, that one, like Rosie tweeted it, and I agree 100%. The thing behind it is you shot the puck. You kept it simple. You kept it direct. You kept it straightforward, and it results in a goal. It's Nylander shooting the puck, not overthinking it, and it's Matthews who buries on the rebound. The first power play, I mean, we didn't even get a full opportunity to evaluate it because it was Nylander with the bad turnover that goes down the other way, a shorthanded chance, and then Marner takes the hooking penalty. Like 1 for 2, and that was the first power play. It was 20 seconds. So, who knows? I think penalty kill will be okay, though. Power play, kind of almost 1 for 1. DSK, next game is an 8-1-1 Montreal with a red-hot Dobish. I think that's how you say it properly. Dobish. I don't know. All right. I think that's going to do it for us here on the show tonight. B grade, I think, is kind of where we're at. It's a good win to snap that streak and like a big moment. JT's out. McCabe comes back. You're playing Sheldon Keefe. He gets the video tribute. Max Entius is putting Philippe Myers on power play 1. Got to tighten up a little bit defensively. Goaltending's got to be a bit better. But you battled back. You never let yourself get out of this one. You showed some fight. I can at least appreciate that. And I can appreciate some effort. Obviously, I want some of those things cleaned up. But after 8 games of feeling like I was like falling asleep watching a hockey game, this is a much, much different feeling. And as you guys are bringing up the big game against the Montreal Canadiens on Saturday night, I will be back on Saturday to break that game down, recap everything that's going on, and I will be joined by none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Alberga, to help break everything down. Thank you so much to everyone who watched here tonight. This being game number 46 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season, winning 4-3 in overtime against the New Jersey Devils and moving to 28-16-2 on the season. Thanks to everyone who watched. We look forward to seeing you guys back here on Saturday night. If you're obviously, make sure to subscribe here to the channel. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, another edition of Leafs Morning Take. So make sure to tune into that there as well, breaking down tonight's game here. A little bit less of an instant reaction. We come on here and we just like lose our minds or go overly excited after Leafs wins and losses on the After Dark. Those boys at least get 12, 13 hours to like think about it and digest what happened and then maybe spit out like a little bit more of a reasonable take than whatever I've provided in the After Dark show. But thank you so much for liking, subscribing, turn on notifications so you don't miss tomorrow morning's show. Thanks everyone. You will see me back here Saturday night following the game against Montreal Canadiens. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.